Ready to go.
Okay. Good morning, everybody, and welcome back. Today we're working on a Honda HRN 216. Now, it was the victim of sitting all winter with gas in it, so we know that the jets are probably clogged, and with the Honda, we've got the jets and the emulsion tube that we got to go clean up. And this young lady gets to be a first. I've never worked on somebody else's equipment before. I always buy it and then work on it in my own schedule, but she twisted my arm funny and just insisted that I fix hers right now. So what can I do? My wife will kill me if I don't. You want to say hi?
Hello, everyone.
So let's get to work. Okay, like every Honda made, it's a little bit complicated to take apart. Looks like you could probably use a new air filter, but we'll worry about that later. So it's a Japanese engine, so we've got our 10 millimeter. It's always a 10 millimeter. What do you know? It was a 10 millimeter. And remember to get a magnet or something to store your screws, because by the time you're done, you'll have a few screws off of the engine, and it's pretty easy to lose them. So let's take that off. This mower doesn't have a good place to put my stuff. Now we'll pull the breather tube off. The positive crankcase ventilation. And that's it. And now with the Honda, we're going to pull this off just a little bit. Don't lose your little sleeves. The other one probably stuck in the air box. It did. It's right here. You want to make sure you don't lose those, because those support the nuts going in to tighten the carburetor, and they don't put too much stress on the plastic. Now, just looking at this right here, we're going to go ahead and zoom in now. This just looks terrible. So the gas in it is obviously, I can't think of a nice word I'm allowed to say on the camera for it. It's let's say, not good. We need a new fuel line, but that's okay. We've got plenty of fuel lines sitting around. So we're going to go ahead and cut it and make it easy on ourselves. So this one, the linkage on this one was amazingly easy. But remember, take a picture of the linkage before you finish taking it apart. The more pictures you've got, the better, because even though it's obvious right now, it's not always easy to tell which hole what went where when you're putting it back together. So let's take her over to the bench and break her down and see what's inside. Okay, looking at it, I did not break a glow stick on the bench. That's actually the fuels that's inside the carburetor. So it's obviously been sitting for a long time. So let's go ahead and pull her apart and see what we've got. Wow. It's like a carnival here. So now for one of these, your problems are going to be your jets. And your jets are inside on a Honda. So we're going to grab a long, excuse me. So now we're going to grab a long skinny screwdriver and take the jet out. Had to fight it a little bit to get this one to let go. But be careful. Make sure you put plenty of pressure on one of these when you're taking it out, because if it's really tight and you inadvertently bang up the threads on this, then you get to find out how much a new carburetor costs. And sometimes these fall right out, and sometimes they don't. This one's right on the edge, so it's trying to come out. So what we're going to do is we'll find something else to bang it on to get it to let go. So instead of going down with this, we'll go, and that usually shakes them loose. And there it is. Okay, and on this one, get that. And there's our jet. If we look at it carefully, we can't see any daylight through this at all. So that tells me that she's just clogged up to no end. Okay, in order to unclog it, I'm using floral wire that I got from a craft store. And what you'll do is you'll run it down the middle. And I can feel quite a bit of obstruction. She's fighting me a little bit running through it. And that would more than likely make it run right there. But since we've already got the carburetor off, if you're fortunate enough to have an ultrasonic cleaner, take advantage of it right now. And we'll take that off, and we'll put the jet and the carburetor in the ultrasonic, and then let it clean up a little bit. And while it's doing that, we're going to go drain the gas. My helper is holding that while I get ready for the rest of it, while I get ready to redo the carburetor. And you can see the gas that's coming out of it is, I don't know what to call it. Let's call it interesting.
Pretty red.
Okay, this one goes back together super easy. We'll put our jet in. Now, some of these Honda engines have an emulsion tube on top of this. And if you open yours up and yours has the emulsion tube, the flat spot on the emulsion tube is what faces that way. And the part that is not flat, that comes more to a point, is the high side. But this one does not have an emulsion tube, so snug but not too tight. While we were waiting patiently for the carburetor to do its thing in the cleaner, I told the young lady who you met earlier that I'd better double or nothing, that it starts on the first or second pull. Which is kind of funny because I'm not charging her anything to do this, but she'll owe me nothing twice. Okay, let's take her back over to the engine and see what we've got. Okay, let's get her back together. First thing we're going to do is put the linkage on here. And then in the smaller hole here. And if you took pictures, this is really obvious where everything goes. If you didn't take pictures, you might want to pay attention. See, the linkage goes like that. Now on this particular mower, it just goes together that easy. Now what we're going to do is go here and judge our fuel line and cut it with just the tiniest little bit of slack and put our hose clip on. Because a little bit of slack won't hurt us any. Not if that's too much. Let's take a little slack out of it. Let's go right about here. Oh, that's a beautiful thing. And we'll move our clip into place. And now we've got a new fuel line, which is one less thing to worry about later. So now the only thing left is to put the airbox back on and make sure we get our breather tube back in place. And there's that. And there's our airbox. There we go. Let's tighten her up and give her a run. Okay, the gas has been sitting in it for about 30 seconds now. So let's give it a run, see what we've got. Nah, she almost ran, but the gas might still be filling the carburetor. Now, a quantum engine probably would have started on the first pull, but we'll give the Honda a little credit. It started on the second pull, and it might have still been filling up with gas when we did it because we did it pretty quickly after putting gas in. So this one sounds pretty good. And like I've said 100 times before, it's always the carburetor. When it's not the carburetor, it's probably still the carburetor. So thank you all for watching. And for all you new people out there, go ahead and subscribe. It's free. And if you made it this far, you might as well. So we'll see you next time.